I'm filming this video shortly before getting on an aeroplane to fly to Holland to film the last in a documentary series of videos following the construction of that incredible 68-metre explorer yacht, Ragnar. And I can't begin to tell you how happy I am finally to be travelling again as slowly countries across Europe are lifting the lockdown. Yacht sales, of course, have been affected by the pandemic, but yacht charter has been particularly brutally affected, as many clients who wanted to charter a yacht this year couldn't even travel to it if they wanted to, in many cases. In fact, at one point it was even asked whether there would be a charter season at all this year. Well, thankfully, the answer to that question is yes, there will be a charter season, and now clients are starting to realise that they can still enjoy their summer on a yacht as lockdowns are being lifted across the Mid. So this seemed like the perfect occasion for me to show you 3 sensational yachts that are ready, willing, and able to host you for your summer vacation. And I just have to start with the largest yacht on the list, the awesome 236-foot Tankoa yacht that I filmed recently in Antigua. The big news is that after a successful Caribbean season, Solo has now returned to the Med and is ready to host guests on board once again. Now, you've seen the prices of €650,000 per week plus expenses in low season and €750,000 per week plus expenses for high season. So let me give you a few details about the yacht so that you know just what you're getting for your money. Solo has an entire deck dedicated to the owner, or in this case, the primary charter guest. Apart from a palatial stateroom, this deck also has a private spa tub and an open terrace area, as well as a study. Crew of 18 highly trained individuals can serve up to 12 guests in 6 cabins. And having spent quite a lot of time on board the yacht, I can tell you that every single cabin on board is sensational. I should also add that if you think that this is a large yacht for just 12 people to enjoy, the main reason for this limit is because any more than 12 guests and the yacht becomes considered as a passenger vessel and is subject to all kinds of regulations, such as big bright orange lifeboats that are not generally seen too favourably on a luxury yacht. In truth, most charter guests of a yacht this size are quite happy to limit the amount of guests that they bring with them so that they can enjoy the peace and quiet, along with an extraordinary level of service that you just wouldn't find even on the world's finest cruise liners. I mentioned earlier that I filmed Solo in November in Antigua, and it was a wonderful experience. I was especially impressed actually with the captain, who has that rare ability of having quite a serious and professional demeanour, but at the same time balancing it with being very friendly and welcoming to us on board. And I've always said that if during 2 very long and hard days of filming, a crew can be welcoming to me and to my team, then how much more so will they be to paying clients when they're on board for their vacation? On now, though, to another yacht that also has a fabulous crew, but this time that's available for charter on the other side of the Atlantic in the Bahamas. Actually, the time I spent on board Tutto La Marina last year was absolutely wonderful, and a large part of this was due to a great crew who were very happy to go the extra yard to make the video successful. Let's talk a little about the yacht though, and this vessel is absolutely perfect for cruising in the Bahamas. You may or may not know that the word Bahama comes from the 2 Spanish words baja and mar, meaning shallow sea. And if you have ever been there, you'll know that the waters can be very shallow indeed. So to really enjoy your time on a yacht, you need a very shallow draft, which is exactly what Tutto La Marina has. With a 35-knot top speed, you can zip from one island to another in no time at all. And in the rare occurrence that the water is a bit choppy, the yacht is equipped with 0-speed gyro stabilizers to increase your comfort level on board. With a crew of 8 and space for 10 guests in 5 cabins. This yacht really has been put together with charter in mind, and in fact carries no less than one 3-seater Yamaha Wave Runner, 2 jet skis, a jet pack, which by the way looks like tremendous fun to play with, 2 paddle boards, 2 wakeboards, and a 4-person towable inflatable. Oh, there are 2 sea bobs and scuba diving equipment, so there's no excuse for getting bored on your Bahama-based break on this yacht. There are not that many yachts that large that can reach those sorts of speeds and that are available for charter in the Bahamas, so I suspect that Toute la Marinée is going to have a very busy year. Actually, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you'll know that I adore the United States and especially Miami. So when I had the opportunity to film that particular yacht, I jumped at the chance and we had an absolute blast on board. You can watch that video by clicking the link in the top right-hand corner of your screen. But don't click yet, because first I want to tell you about another sensational yacht that's available for charter, this time back in the Med. And I could not possibly talk to you about amazing charter yachts without including the magnificent Mangusta 165 Da Vinci. Since arriving on the charter market 3 years ago, the yacht and the crew have become living legends, providing endless weeks of thrills, entertainment, and total relaxation to the owner and to the regular charter guests that enjoy time on board her. This is the kind of yacht that is perfect for whizzing from Monaco to Saint-Tropez, dropping anchor by the islands off Cannes on the way for lunch. The deck space on board is just out of this world, and I happen to know that the owner and his team went to very great lengths to ensure that the interior design was carried out to the highest possible standards and incorporated beautifully crafted and prestigious materials. In fact, that desire to reach high standards is reflected in just about everything on the yacht. I know the owners team well, and they have an absolute obsession to take on the very best people for crew. The result, in fact, is that Da Vinci has an outstanding reputation in the industry and amongst charter guests. As you saw earlier, the price for a week on Da Vinci is €225,000 plus expenses in the low season and €250,000 plus expenses in the high season. She cruises with a crew of 9 and can accommodate 12 guests in 5 cabins. And after that, I imagine that you have 2 questions on your mind. The first one being, what are these expenses that I'm talking about? And the second one, of course, where do I sign to book my charter on board one of those boats? I'll take the second question first. And actually, all of those 3 yachts are represented by my colleague, Nicolas.fry. So I've put his email address in the description below. But for Nicolas's benefit, let me say that he, like I, has to do due diligence on any inquiry that he gets. So please only contact him if you are financially qualified to charter one of those yachts. Actually, as I've mentioned in other videos, I think it's great that there are so many viewers of this channel from different backgrounds, some who are wealthy people who can buy and charter yachts. Then you've got a big section of people who are aspiring yacht owners who'd love to be able one day to buy a yacht or to charter a yacht. And then there's, of course, a big section as well of people who are just fascinated by yachts and by yachting. And maybe particularly for that valued segment of my viewers, I'd like to explain just how yacht charter works a little bit in terms of the plus expenses on top of the price. When you charter a yacht, you're asked to make an additional payment called an APA. That's an advanced provisioning allowance, and it's aside from the charter fee, and it's usually a percentage of the charter fee, around about 15% quite often. And that money goes to the captain so that he can stock up on fuel, which is pretty expensive, food and drinks, or if he needs to book cars and drivers to bring you from the airport to the yacht, all of those extra little expenses which even if you were the yacht owner, you probably have, well, you would certainly have to pay for in any case. I'd love to go into more details on the mechanics of charter. So what I'm thinking of doing is when I'm next in the south of France and with one of our experienced charter brokers, We could do a live stream on the subject so that you can ask that charter broker all the questions that you want to and get an answer from a more reliable authority on the subject and more experienced authority on the subject than I am. I specialize in sales and marketing, not particularly in charter. So leave a comment below if that's something you'd like me to do in the future. It's certainly something I'd be delighted to do. Remember as well that next Monday, I issue the next one of my newsletters. That's an email newsletter called Inside Info, in which I give additional information about the yachting industry. And if you'd like to subscribe to that newsletter, there's a link where you can do that in the description below.